Good afternoon and welcome to Studio G. I'm Mariah Berry.
And I'm Brianna Haney.
More news from last week's shooting. Metro Police held a press conference yesterday and revealed that the security guard who was shot by Stephen Paddock was hit almost 6 minutes before gunfire rained over the concertgoers. The FBI is now releasing some belongings left at the concert grounds. Officials have been through hundreds of thousands of items from the Route 91 Harvest Festival. If you were near the VIP tent above the area, or those items can be picked up at the convention center. And less than an hour ago, another press conference was held. Authorities are now releasing the property for those who are in the large area in front of the stage.
It's been a little more than a week since the Las Vegas shooting, and while the nation continues to come to terms with the 58 lives lost, one performer is paying their respects. Jason Aldean and his wife made a trip to UMC this weekend to visit the injured and their families. They also made a trip to one of the many makeshift memorial sites. Last Sunday, he was performing on stage when the shots rang out. Aldean also performed on Saturday Night Live and sang "I Won't Back Down" in honor of the victims and the late Tom Petty.
A new set of travel restrictions are slated to begin this week for people trying to enter the United States from certain countries around the world. Studio G reporter Brianna Haney has more on the changes and who will be likely affected by this.
It looks like travel restrictions are only going to get tighter across the country. President Trump's controversial new travel ban goes into effect this month. Starting on October 18th, Chad, Iran, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, North Korea, and Venezuela will all be subject to new U.S. travel restrictions. Each country will have their own set of restrictions which will determine who is and is not eligible to enter. These restrictions replace President Trump's first travel ban, which prevented people from 6 Muslim-majority countries from entering the U.S. over the last 3 months. So with all that being said, what do students at the most diverse campus in the nation think about the ban?
I think in some ways it's a good thing, but in other ways that it's very discriminatory, that to group a whole country into something, that yeah, there might be some bad people from that country, but to ban everyone from that country I don't think is okay.
Adding 3 more countries, what's next? I don't know. You know what I mean? What's next? Is it going to be the whole world and then nobody's going to be allowed to come in here, or what?
Individuals from the banned countries are still allowed to apply for U.S. visas until October 18th, the day the ban is set to take effect. And the Supreme Court is expected to hear arguments on the legality of the ban later this month. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Brianna Haney.
As an update to the story, the Supreme Court is meeting today to discuss the travel ban further.
Fire crews in California are battling at least 15 wildfires this afternoon. These fires have killed at least 11 people and injured more than 100. The blaze started Sunday night as strong winds blew through the area. Evacuations are being enforced through Sonoma and Napa, about 75 miles north of San Francisco. So far, 1,500 homes have been destroyed. The fires near Napa and Sonoma have scorched at least 5,000 acres.
We need every resident to heed evacuation warnings and orders and move out quickly and orderly.
The fires are not contained at all, and no word as to yet how the fire started.
Hurricane Nate is no more. It is now a tropical storm. But before this happened, it swept through Alabama and Mississippi. It brought 85 miles per hour gusts and flooding in Casino Row. This was the first hurricane to hit Mississippi since Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. Dove has issued an apology after recent complaints regarding an ad released over the weekend. A GIF was posted on the company's Facebook page depicting a black woman taking off a brown shirt, to then reveal a white woman. Screenshots of the ad went viral. The company said it, quote, missed the mark on representing women of color thoughtfully. This isn't the first time Dove has been in hot water. In 2011, the company was accused of being racist after releasing an ad where they featured 3 women with different skin tones, from dark to light. The women appeared below the words before and after, which were meant to indicate skin dryness.
A bitter feud between President Trump and a key GOP senator, a potential deal on Dreamers hitting a brick wall, and Vice President Mike Pence taking center stage in the NFL kneeling controversy. CNN's Joe Johns sums up the weekend in politics, starting with Trump's spat with Senator Bob Corker.
In a scathing critique, Senator Bob Corker telling the New York Times that President Trump's reckless threats could put the U.S. on the path to World War III. He concerns me. He would have to concern anyone who cares about our nation. Corker saying Mr. Trump is treating the presidency like a reality show, remarking, I know for a fact that every single day at the White House is a situation of trying to contain him. Corker's blunt criticism coming after the president bashed him in a barrage of tweets Sunday morning, suggesting Corker begged him to endorse him for re-election. Corker flatly denying that account and calling the White House an adult daycare center.
Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Mattis, and Chief of Staff Kelly are those people that help separate our country from chaos.
This as the Trump administration effectively derails any potential deal with Democrats to protect Dreamers, unveiling a long list of demands in exchange for a legislative solution. Among them, curbing funding for sanctuary cities, a crackdown on unaccompanied minors from Central America, and funding the border wall. Democratic leadership denouncing the White House proposal, saying the administration can't be serious about compromise or helping the Dreamers if they begin with a list that is anathema to the Dreamers. This proposal fails to represent any attempt at compromise. All this while Vice President Mike Pence is facing criticism for amplifying the president's feud with the NFL. The VP walking out of Sunday's Indianapolis Colts game after some players knelt during the national anthem. President Trump quickly taking credit, tweeting that he asked Pence to leave if any players knelt, a protest it seems the White House expected. The vice president traveled from Las Vegas, where he was paying tribute to the victims of the massacre, to Indianapolis for the game, and then back to Los Angeles. CNN estimates the travel cost to be around $250,000. Had Pence skipped the game, it would have been substantially lower.
The last time he's been to a Colts game was 3 years ago. So this looks like a PR stunt to me. He knew our team has had the most players protests. He knew that we were probably going to do it again. And so this is what systemic oppression looks like.
A vice president's aide says that if Pence had not gone to the game, he would have ended up flying to Washington. Coming up, a Texas Tech student is behind bars this afternoon after a horrific crime. We have the details behind his arrest.
Plus, we'll tell you why some airline passengers were in for a bumpy ride. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
It's awesome. I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought it was just going to be fun, just me in a room playing music. And it's blossomed into something beyond what I imagined. Like, people just love it. There's like, a lot of people are eager and excited to be a part of UNLV radio. A lot of people didn't even know UNLV had a radio station, so I'm glad to be bringing that awareness to the Vegas community.
It feels great. You know, it's a great accomplishment because it starts as something that nobody knows about. You get to build it from the ground up. So it builds your work ethic. It also gives you a sense of accomplishment when it's like, man, we made it. We did something. We made something that nobody else has made. So
it's great to be part of the student community and having to bring something to the student body with music, which is one of my passions.
I feel like it's giving me a voice, and not just for me, but for people who have something they are passionate about. And I just want to, keep that conversation going and let other people see what we're talking about here.
It's amazing to have an opportunity to play whatever it is that you want to play. It's also a great way to connect and meet with new artists, great people, just music lovers in general.
What's up, it's your girl Scribe Cash. This is
the Prince Madison. This is the Takeover.
played by the video game's live orchestra.
Now on Twitter, @MilesLowMusic and
Our Metropolis is a 30-minute show that airs every Tuesday evening at 91.5. You're going to hear Dr. Gary Larson along with our regular contributors talking about what matters to our community. And not only what matters, but why does it matter? We look at our community as a whole, but we also pay special attention to what's happening here at UNLV because that's our home as well. So looking at our Metropolis through the lens of a radio show really gives us the unique perspective to tell a story through words and through people, and I think it makes for a great program.
The show's name is the Rebel and Revolt Show. Pretty good show about, just someone who will actually talk about UNLV the way an outsider might feel. We talk about current events, we talk about politics, try to take an offensive swing with it. Sometimes it's hit or miss, but and then we talk about, the little things in life that everybody laughs about. And we are the Rebels and we are revolting. My name is Jameson Wilk and I run the Rebel and Revolt Show, and you can tune in at therebelhd2.com.
Welcome back to Studio G.
Here are a few of today's top stories. Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein has officially been fired from the company he co-founded. This stems from sexual harassment accusations. The New York Times reports these allegations of sexual misconduct go back decades. While Weinstein denied some of the allegations, he says he sometimes behaved improperly during his career and apologized for causing pain. However, he has not commented on his termination. A Texas Tech student is in custody this afternoon accused of killing a police officer. Freshman Hollis Daniels was found with drugs and other paraphernalia in his room. When he was taken to the police station for a debriefing, that's when he somehow got a hold of a gun and shot the officer. He fled but was later caught by police. Texas Tech was on a brief lockdown, but classes did resume normally today. Those jackets might collect a little bit of dust because temperatures could rise within the next day or two.
Kayleen Talent has a look at our weather report. Kayleen?
Thank you, ladies. My name is Kayleen Talent, and I have your weather forecast for today. Here at UNLV, it's going to be a nice 70. The wind is very calm, so it's going to be beautiful weather. Looking at our picture of the day, it's courtesy of the Weather Channel. In California, about 15 wildfires are spreading throughout the state. 11 people have died, and about 1,500 homes have been destroyed. But looking at our national forecast today, in the East Coast, there's heavy rain, and in Atlantis, there's lightning. As for the West Coast, in San Francisco and Los Angeles, it's 69 and 77. But in the upper area where Seattle and Portland is, there's lightning as well as a mixture of rain and snow. Looking into our valley, we are consistent in the 68s. Lowest is going to be 67 in Nellis and Henderson. For today, we're expecting 67. High is going to be 78 and low is going to be 56, and it's going to be sunny. So once again, it's going to be absolutely beautiful weather. Here tonight at UNLV, it's 56. The wind is very calm, but again, mostly clear, sweater weather, so I'm prepared for tonight. Looking at our 5-day forecast on Wednesday, it's going to be 86. As you can see, it's sunny throughout the whole entire week, which is amazing, but we are going to drop down into the 50s at night, and throughout the week, the lowest is going to be 76 on Sunday. And that is all that I have for your weather forecast for today.
And this just into the newsroom. There are now 17 wildfires burning in California. The number of deaths in regard to the California wildfires has now jumped to 13. In addition, more than 2,000 homes and businesses have now been destroyed, along with 100,000 acres of land.
The Vegas Golden Knights are in town. Tonight they will play their first home opener at the T-Mobile Arena against the Arizona Coyotes. So far they have won both of their away games this season. You can still purchase tickets for tonight's game. We saw some pretty gusty winds yesterday, so much so that Frontier Airlines flight from McCarran had to make an emergency landing in Salt Lake due to a medical situation. A witness says people were screaming as the plane rocked side to side, and one person reportedly had a seizure. Frontier Airlines has not commented on the emergency landing.
Chronic back pain can be debilitating, with many sufferers turning to surgery for relief, but some doctors say there could be another way. In today's Health Minute, Kim Hutcherson explores how to relieve the pain without going under the knife.
Back pain is categorized as chronic when it lasts 3 months or longer. And while surgery may be necessary in some cases, doctors at Johns Hopkins say there are alternatives. Physical therapy can help with back pain. Patients learn better posture, gain flexibility, and core strength, all of which helps their condition improve. Yoga and meditation can help fight the emotional turmoil that comes from coping with chronic back pain. Mindfulness exercises can train your mind to not focus on the physical discomfort. Changes in your diet and other lifestyle modifications may also help relieve back pain. Other non-surgical options include massage and acupuncture, nerve ablations where nerves are destroyed to ease pain, and anti-inflammatory medications or muscle relaxants might help. Also, give up the smokes. Johns Hopkins says nicotine has been known to make pain worse and slow down the healing process. These tips may help you avoid surgery and the long recovery process. Remember to discuss any course of action with your doctor. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Coming up, Christian Gerlach from the Sierra Club of Southern Nevada is in the studio.
We'll sit down and talk with him about the national monuments that are at risk. We'll be right back.
As far as Studio G, at first it looks overwhelming, and at first it looks like it's a lot of work, but I'll tell you what, it's the most beneficial class I've had at UNLV to date, without a doubt. You get to not only develop stories and work on your interviewing skills, your editing skills, and your shooting skills from a camera perspective, you get to work on all the equipment that's in the studio. So you're working on audio, you're working on directing, tech directing, you get to produce your own show. You can take a 30-minute newscast and make it your own. And that's really cool about Studio G. Like I said, a lot of it seems overwhelming at first, but it is by far the best class I've taken at UNLV since I've been here.
Your community's farmers market. Welcoming, lively, friendly. A place where neighbors and friends come together to celebrate their community. With over 50 vendors, organic, sustainable, fresh produce are available just for you. Support and buy local at Fresh 52.
I really enjoy doing my show. I love all types of rock, and that's why I'm doing Rock Through the Decades. We play the 50s all the way to today's rock music or rock bands. I want them to get the appreciation of how much rock has changed over the years and how it's still really great. You can never kill rock. I mean, rock is like the way to be, the way to go. The name of my show is Rock Through the Decades, and I am Rockin' Gemini. You can listen to this on the Rebel HD2 network.
Welcome back to Studio G. Today we have Christian Gerlach from Sierra Club of Southern Nevada. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Well Queen.
Absolutely. So you work for the Sierra Club organization.
Yes, I do.
Now, for our viewers who may not know a lot about the organization, can you tell us exactly what it is that your organization does? What is your overall goal?
So Sierra Club is the oldest environmental organization founded in 1892. We do a whole host of things, dedicate ourselves to getting people outdoors, reconnected with nature. Our motto is to help people explore, enjoy, and protect the planet. So everything that involves, including getting people active on environmental issues, civically engaged in environmental processes.
Oh, wow. Awesome. And I'm sure you're very busy, especially because here in the state of Nevada, a lot of our land is owned by the federal government. And right here in our backyard, we have lands that has history behind it that does need protection and preservation in order to keep it, especially with the issue of the Gold Butte National Monument.
Absolutely. So to just correct one thing, Joaquin, the federal government doesn't own this land. It's public land. It's owned by us, managed in trust for us by the federal government. Insofar as the monuments review, that is very troubling. An executive order came out by President Trump back in April, and ultimately it caused a lot of issues, a lot of fear amongst indigenous communities, even here in Nevada, the local Nuuvi, Southern Paiute peoples, that lands they had worked for decades to get protected will suddenly have its protection stripped from them. Other examples are Bears Ears, things like that. But here specifically, there was a very large community effort to protect Gold Butte.
Right. And from the carvings that we've seen in the monument, have we learned any stories as far as like from our past, from the Native Americans who
Well,
these?
it's kind of a funny thing. They're contemporary peoples. They're real people. They're today people. There's a large contingent of folks that actually go here to UNLV. But yes, these lands specifically in Gold Butte are very important to the Southern Paiute people. It's actually part of what is ultimately their belief in the afterlife. It's part of a greater what's called Salt Song Trail, a belief that and a physical trail that they used to traverse to collect salt, go to springs, collect water. Gold Butte is very important. There's quite a few springs and quite a few cultural resources there that are in need of protection, and they were very happy to get it protected under a designation. Unfortunately, again, this review puts it at risks.
And what exactly is your organization doing to make sure that these areas are protected?
Well, we are actively working with organizations like Friends of Gold Butte, Friends of Nevada Wilderness, doing stewardship projects, monitoring areas. There's state site stewardship programs that are in place. But ultimately, it's working with our community partners like the Moapa Paiute, Las Vegas Band of Paiute, their individual members, Greater Sierra Club volunteer and membership, students here at UNLV, to raise the issues of how important this place is and why it needs protecting, and to make sure that we have people in place that if and when any decision comes out by the administration, executive order or otherwise, to remove protections from this area, that we'll have lawyers ultimately there to go to the legal fight if necessary.
Right, and with the issue with Yucca Mountain, which has been closed for many years, and this year President Trump, along with the U.S. Secretary of Interior Ryan Zinke, have both made the announcement on beginning the licensing process in order to get all the information that they need to reopen Yucca Mountain. And if it does reopen, then that would pretty much mean Nevada would be the official nuclear waste dumping grounds of the country. So what would this mean for Nevadans as far as what are some of the risks that we may take from that?
Well, Yucca Mountain being very similar in certain parallels to the whole Gold Butte issue, even the Arctic Wildlife Refuge issue, these are originally indigenous lands, treaties not necessarily being honored and whatnot. So there's always parallels between all of these struggles. But insofar as our modern contemporary society, what we're worried and facing is ultimately large-scale accidents, whether it be in the transportation of the nuclear waste or in the actual storage facility itself, contamination of groundwater. Several different issues arise from Yucca Mountain. But to put it bluntly, there's quite a few hurdles that will still be faced. Fortunately, we had a very big champion, Senator Harry Reid, who was able to get Yucca Mountain pretty much unfunded. So we have champions here still to this day that are fighting for our community to prevent Nevada becoming a large-scale nuclear waste dump site. There is already high-level nuclear waste out in parts of the state, and there's other places they're looking at, but ultimately collecting all this nuclear material in just one place poses greater risk than beefing up security and beefing up places where they can be housed at least temporarily on site where nuclear storage is. And this is actually something you can look up on Sierra Club's national policy available on public website. So insofar as the Yucca Mountain issue goes, it's definitely troubling because we know what has happened from the legacy of just uranium mining in Navajo Nation, Dene Nation. There has been a lot of aquifers that have been rendered entirely useless, communities without groundwater or water to be able to drink, do irrigation for crops, basically leaving their areas desolate, and people actually getting cancer from exposure working in uranium mines, or families even getting cancer from just exposure of the uranium dust that's in the clothing of those working in the mines.
Right. Well, you know, it's very troubling, but thank you very much for coming into the studio and talking to us about these important issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. But that's all the time that we have. I would like to thank Kristen Gerlach for coming in today, and we'll be right back.
Sunday evening jazz. I mainly play a lot of contemporary jazz music from the 1960s up until about 2012, 2013. When I go on, just explain who it was, the name of the song, the name of the artist, maybe the name of the album, their career. I just hope that everybody enjoys it and appreciate it for the kind of music it is and how great it is. My name is Sam, and I host Sunday Evening Jazz on the rebelhd2.com.
You don't get to do an internship, you have to do an internship. It's one of the requirements for a journalism major. You have to do an internship before you can graduate.
Definitely having an internship as a requirement really helps push yourself out there and to just remind you that your graduation is coming up soon. You're going to have to need some work experience in your career. So it's really good to put yourself out there early on, and they tend to help students a lot more. So when you do a student internship, it really helps out a lot.
Oh, the station's great. You make friends, you gain skills, you learn how to do all this stuff with audio. It's a fantastic thing.
I can grow with everyone, and everybody supports me as well as I can support them.
I think it's great. I think it's a blessing to have this kind of equipment from the Green Spun family as well as the state of Nevada.
And it's really informative to see, how a radio show really works.
Now that I do it, I have friends, I have people that want to hang out, and I get to play music a lot.
It's very good too, because we have all the top of the line equipment to work with and students here that can help you out. So it's a very, very good way to get involved in the radio.
Many students across UNLV want to make a difference in their community, but may not know how. The Rebel Rise program wants to give these students a starting point. Studio G reporter Michael Carmona has more information on the program.
The Rebels Rise program here at UNLV is designed to assist students in overcoming personal obstacles and encourage them to engage in their community. Rebels Rise has been going on for 8 years so far, and its method of helping students is a 5-part program which includes multiple workshops in the library.
We are partnering with Research Week to encourage students to learn more about research on campus. Our 4th week we bring in our alumni, and the final week is the job fair sponsored by the Office of Career Services.
Participating in the program for the first time is Advising and Recruitment Director Dr. Tony Terrell. He was the keynote speaker at the kickoff event.
I've always been involved as far as supporting it. From an academic advising perspective and administrator on campus. So I feel like it's very good to rally the troops and bring everybody together for this type of event.
A significant part of the Rebels Rise program is international study, to persuade students to go across the world and learn.
Students will just broaden their horizons, learn more about the rest of the world, and oftentimes come back reinvigorated to complete their diploma here.
Studying abroad lets you get out of your comfort zone, experience a different culture, learn a new language, and also expand your horizons as far as your network.
Travel to another country, learn culture, even language, and kind of adjust yourself, learn how to integrate in different environments, and just basically get to know the world. I think that's something that I would be very interested in.
The ultimate goal of the program, however, make sure UNLV students rise above the rest. Reporting for Studio G, I'm Michael Carmona.
The workshops will run through the rest of October. More information can be found on unlv.com/advising/rebelsrise.
That is all the time that we have for you today.
Join us tomorrow for more local and national news right here on Studio G. Have a great day, Rebels.